So today I want to talk about something important that's going on. It's been going on for quite some time now. It's the use of the word felon and how people are labeling others by basically giving them the death sentence because they're a felon. And I'm not particularly talking about President Trump in this speech here, but I am talking about all of the felons, including myself, that are in America. And there's a lot. So by using that word, what you're doing, you're creating more division and generating more hate. This country is in bad enough shape as it is. And what we need is unity, not division. It seems almost like people want a civil war. And that, to me, is just evil. I'll go a little bit into my backstory in this speech too, because maybe it'll shed a little light on mistakes that people make and how rehabilitation is possible and change is possible. And so is love. Nearly 20 years ago, I went through a very dark stage in my life where I had a son and I wasn't ready for the responsibility involved in that. So I ended up losing my girlfriend and basically the bond that I had with my son at the time, even though he was only 2 years old when he left. You know, he didn't quite have a bond because he was such a small child, a baby more or less, but I did. And when that loss happened, it devastated me. And I lost hope. And I went to a very dark place. And I started doing drugs. You know, I started committing crimes. I hung out with the wrong people. I used stolen credit cards. I ended up breaking into a couple businesses. And what ended up putting me in prison was the fact that I had 2 illegal firearms. Now, I never used those firearms, but I had them. And that's what did it. So they sent me to prison for 18 months, or a 3-year sentence. And at first, it was a minimum security prison. And when I got to this minimum security prison, which felt more or less like a rehabilitation center, there was a guard there, and I knew this guard from when I was a child, and we used to have conversations here and there. Now, when you're in these places, they can't know that you know anyone there. Otherwise, they'll send you out of the prison and somewhere else. So we had conversations, and one of the conversations he told me that stuck with me was, he said, "You know that most of us would be felons, but we just never got caught. So sit on that for a while." Some falcons over there. Or hawks. A couple of them. I spent a few months there, and one of the classes came up, and there was a woman that showed up for the class, and it turned out that it was a woman that I used to date. Only a few dates, and I didn't do anything wrong to her or deserve what was to happen after this, but this is what happened. And she was dating one of the guards in that prison, and basically she went and she said something, and the next thing I know, I'm being sent to a maximum security gang prison. That's when one of the guards pulled me aside and prayed with me. That was the first time I prayed in a long time. And when I got there, there was like nothing I've ever experienced or could have ever imagined. I was one of the only white people in this prison. And what kept me alive and safe was just staying to myself. And I've learned to respect. That was the way that you deal with people. You respect people. You give them respect unless they don't give you respect back. But you always give people the opportunity and the acknowledgement and the respect. And that's how it works. That's how it should work anywhere. But what really kept me safe was just not letting anyone know who I really was. Because if I was unpredictable and they couldn't figure out who I was, and they were uncertain of what I would do, well, that kept me alive. And even to this day, it's kept me alive. I learned a lot in that period. I've also learned about other people, about other felons. And we're not all bad. You know, people can rehabilitate, people can change. And sometimes just one thing happens in their life, or one mistake they make, and then they become a felon. Sometimes it's an accident even. And the thing about being a felon is, even when you go through all of the hell that you have to go through for making this mistake and repaying your debt to humanity, you're still outcasted by society and unable to even work. And this is what I had to go through. Now, mind you, this was nearly 20 years ago, and I had to create my own job because I couldn't work anymore. That's my Falcon, that's my Hawk right there. And I had to create my own job. And I haven't broken the law again in 20 years. Well, nothing that would give me any serious consequences anyway. Oh, I see you. So what I'm saying is, stop creating division and hate and labeling people felons because they make a mistake or they've been to prison, like they can't change. Because what you're doing is you're just creating a lot of hate and a lot of division in a broken country already. And this is not how we fix it or cause unity or create unity, which is exactly what we need to do. Because there's a lot of us out there. And some of these people that I met in these prisons were some of the best people I've ever met in my life. People that would die for you if they cared about you. And you know how rare that is? To find loyalty like that. And another thing that I see that happens so often is all this petty name calling and smearing. Why don't you do your fucking job? And stop disgracing people. Good people at that. People that know what sacrifice is like. Give it to me here. Give it to me in my hand. There's a lot wrong with this world right now. And when I'm done with all of this, I don't even know if I'll make it out alive. I don't want to medal for this, but I do want you to stop smearing my name. No. Go. And when I say this, I speak for all of us, people like me. If you want to walk away from something good, I'm not going to stop you. But don't tread on me. After all, my intentions aren't cruel. Yeah, I know, I see you.